Pongolola, Director of Planning and Management Control at Sonangol. A very good afternoon to you, sir. Welcome to Africa in Business.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you. Good afternoon to all South African. And everybody can hear from Angola.
Yes, thank you very much. Loud and clear. Perhaps let's start off with why financing Africa's petroleum trade routes is becoming increasingly important in the current global energy landscape. Are you with us, sir?
Hello?
Okay, we
lost you here.
Yes, we lost you there for a moment. Let me repeat the question in case you did miss it. I was asking you why financing Africa's petroleum trade routes is of crucial importance right now in the current global energy landscape.
Well, definitely. I think this is something we should have done a while ago. But of course, as we move forward, as we see the need for the continent to industrialize and see the self-sufficiency being promoted throughout different countries in the continent, it is vital that we come together, and we, Sonangol, decided to invest in refining capacity, not only to support and meet current and local demand, but to analyze and explore the regional and the continental demand in general. Because we need to, as a continent, as I've explained throughout the conference, we are a continent full of natural resources, but we're still dependent upon import of various refined products, and not only that, on mineral resources and everything. So our final products need to be prepared and produced locally for us to serve the continent and the country, of course. So it is important for us to invest now, not only to benefit current generation, but also to look forward and benefit future generations as well. So we need to make the continent ready and robust enough to meet current demand and even future demand.
You mentioned regional demand, and I wonder which are the areas of priority, the regions to prioritize, the corridors to prioritize as far as petroleum infrastructure investment is concerned. Which would you highlight?
Well, so at the moment, we're looking at the more SADC region, so to say. But we're open to explore all areas where demand is present. Of course, refined products demand is present. But at the moment, the focus should be serving the Angolan and also the neighboring countries in the SADC region, of course.
And what are the main financing gaps that tend to be slowing down the development of efficient petroleum logistic networks across the continent?
Well, I think, Philip, at the moment, with other continents, of course, Angola is part of it. At the moment, we still depend on financing from international financial institutions, and we do so with Sonangol. We are able to get finance from different financial institutions, but we believe one of the forms to finance all our projects, and will not only have to depend on financial institutions, we need to find partners, local partners and investors, of course, which we believe we have some in Africa. It's very important for them to join forces and join their investments and meet the projects that not only Sonangol is putting forward, but other companies are putting forward. But the gaps, of course, they're all to do with the local financial institution ability to meet the requirements of the projects. For instance, one project like the Lobito Refinery is a capital-intensive project. Not all local banks have the capacity to meet the project's demand. So we have to require and acquire financing from international institutions like European, American, and Asian financial institutions. So we need to strengthen local banks. We need to strengthen regional banks. But at the moment, there hasn't been much capacity for local banks to meet the project. These are the projects like this capital intensive.
And what role are multilateral lenders playing? I'm talking about the African Development Bank, for example, the African Energy Bank, Afreximbank. What role do they play in de-risking investments along these routes?
Well, they play very vital role in the sense that they are part of the group of banks we approach to finance the project. They create lines of investment, not of course with the total investment needed for the project, but they participate as leading banks in some cases, as banks of the portfolio for the project. But one of the institutions that we approached, not only as for this project but for other projects we have in our portfolio, but this project in particular, Afreximbank and other banks, they play a very important role in participating in whatever amount of money or funds they're willing to invest or finance for the project.
Could you talk to us?
To the project's bankability, of course.
Right. I wanted to now look a little bit further down the line to a return in your investments as investors. Typically, when you look at infrastructure projects, and particularly on the African continent, what type of timeframes are we talking about? What are the expectations for investors to start seeing their returns?
Well, for a project like this one in the Lobito, the grandiosity project, we expect to have the return of investment, the payback period is around 10 to 12 years minimum. It can be sooner, it depends on the price of refined product and the crude oil, of course. They're very dependent on the commodities pricing, but in general, we're looking at a time frame between 10 or 12 years for the return of investment of these magnitudes.
And are there successful precedents?
Which is pretty much
standard, yes.
What? Sorry.
I was going to ask if there's a precedence here that maybe you could cite where there have been investments of this nature that did indeed yield the returns. We know oftentimes, as far as African governments especially are concerned, there's always debt that doesn't get repaid back. What is it that you are pointing to that, is a positive case study?
Well, in our case in particular, I think I've presented this approach throughout the conference. What happened in particular in Africa, we haven't registered too much investment in refining capacity, of course. But truth is, we do have all of our countries across Africa. They do import refined products, and they pay the refined products in, say, stronger to international companies. But as for Sonangol in particular, being an integrated oil and gas company, we do operate from upstream up to downstream, of course, and have different ways of returning the financing to the banks, of course. But in the sense that we have the market needs, we have the demand present, the current future demand, we have the entire SADC region buying refined products from other countries in Europe or Asia, where all these countries they pay the refined products in stronger currencies. So we shouldn't see as much of a difficulty for the projects to pay back the investments or even finance from financial institutions. We have a very good track record in our relationship with banks. We have borrowed from banks in the past. We keep borrowing from banks when we do pay back according to the bank's requirements. So, yeah. I think the fact that we have the current and future demand, I think, is a proof that there's market, there's product to be sold, and of course there's money to be gained from the market, yeah.
And that falls slap bang within your portfolio as Director of Planning and Management Control. We thank you very much for your insight and your time, and looking forward to seeing what comes out of the back of Africa Energy Week, as well as the financing, $2.4 billion debt requirement needed for that Lobito Refinery project. Mr. Edson Pongolola, we thank you for your time, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. He takes us to exactly 4:30 p.m. Central African time. Let's head over now to the markets desk, where Nolutando Buthelezi is standing by with your latest market indicators.